Hi guys, welcome back to Bob's Basement. Of course, I'm out of the basement. I'm on the wife's table again because I can. So let's go into this group of soldiers. Now, last time we did the Timmy soldiers. Now I want to get into the MPC soldiers, the Multiple Plastic Company soldiers. Now these molds ended up being come up through the ages. I mean, you had those big G's with the big guys there, which it's funny because what ends up happening is MPC traded off some of its molds to, Jay Horowitz had bought a lot of the Marks molds and battle sets. Now the MPC Giant set, this one right here, U.S. Armed Forces, this is one of the original ones from, I believe, the early, I don't want to say 50s, but it could be. Just give me a second. I don't know. Is it that? I don't know too much about the MPC as much as I really should. I want to say my guess is going to be that it was definitely late 50s, early 60s that this set came out. And this was Multiple Plastics. And Multiple Plastics, not to be confused with the new MPC that does the models. This was a different toy company. And what they did is they came out with these guys here that don't have any guns or helmets or anything. And what you ended up getting was these accessories. Whoa! Okay. With these accessories of helmets, guns, and all kinds of neat stuff. Like this right here, if you can see that, right? So these helmets you would place on the soldiers. You'd have to trim them down though, because there's a lot of flash on them. But you could trim them down. You put them on there, and then they carry the gun. You know, you put the weapon in their hands and that kind of neat stuff, right? So as you can imagine, this set must have got lost. All the pieces must have got lost. You know, honestly, it's a pain in the butt. So I don't believe these sets would have been too popular with people because of the intricacy of it. And oh shoot, you know what I just found? Look what I just found. That's gonna go with the girls. But that's these soldiers. These soldiers came in that with the accessories. And this was the MPC, about 50s, late 50s, early 60s type vehicles. You had the Weasel with your soldiers just sit in there, exploding bridge, truck, Jeep, missile vehicles, and your tank that would slide in like that. Which we've got a lot of that stuff over there. So when you look at that, you see that. Now, the thing about this is, it's funny because what ends up happening is Jay Horowitz, who picks up Mark's battle sets, ends up mixing a lot of this stuff into the box sets of the Mark stuff. So what that means is he doesn't have the molds for the Germans or the Americans. So what he does is he actually ends up utilizing newer MPC soldiers, which we'll see in a few seconds as soon as I get my stuff together here and put the stuff away. What's going to happen is he's going to utilize MPC molds of the tanks and the vehicles. But in the meantime, as MPC grows and we leave the 50s and the early 60s, we end up going into these soldiers here. These MPC soldiers. Now, here's your earlier 60s MPC soldiers, which are a lot taller, and then later on they become a little bit smaller. Now, actually, these blue guys weren't really the bad guys. they were actually supposed to be U.S. Marines. At least that's what I read and heard. The gray ones are supposed to be the bad guys. Now, they did make gray tanks. They made blue tanks and off blue as well as your green tanks. But supposedly, these blue guys who ended up being the Germans or the bad guys were actually supposed to be U.S. Marines accompanying the MPC soldiers over here. And see these gray guys in here? These gray guys? Well, they're supposed to be the bad guys. But we're not going to tell anybody any different, right? Because we all use those blue guys for bad guys. So what ends up happening, and look at all these guys. You tell me if these weren't common, if they're everywhere. So what ends up happening is they came out with all kinds of neat tanks, toys, helicopters, jeeps, cannons, all through the ages. They came out with walls, barbed wire fences. They came out with the tents, which so much remind me of MASH. Yeah, there we go, field hospital, right? So then you had the missile tanks, which are pretty neat. And you had your APC carriers. And I don't have a loose weasel, but you saw the weasel that was in that box set over there. So basically, that was the MPC. These were toys, a blast from the past. These were dime store soldiers. Same thing. Jay Horowitz, he ends up throwing a lot of these tanks into the Battleground, Mark's Battleground battle sets, which honestly was a far cry from what Lewis Marks did with his battle sets. There's a lot of stuff that was out of scale with everything. Not that the Marks didn't do the same thing. I mean, with their tanks and their troops and stuff. But hey, it is what it is. We were kids. We play with them. So basically, that's what I have for MPC. I really don't know too much about the Multiple Plastic Corporation that made these toys, but they're pretty cool. The problem that I have with these MPCs, especially these vehicles, is that as they get older, they tend to break. The plastic gets brittle, and they just fall apart. So that's, if you're going to buy some of these old sets and these old soldiers, be prepared for that, because it is going to happen. Cannon's pretty cool, and you can see that they have the label right there. It says MPC right on it, Multiple Plastic Corporation, which is pretty cool. Not to be confused with the MPC model company that did cars and trucks and tanks and some soldiers here and there. But yeah, it's pretty neat. I don't know if you guys remember these. I remember playing with these, and normally I'd find lots of these on my paper route in the garbage, and I would pick them up. Usually the wheels would be broken or something like that, and they'd be thrown out. I guess kids got too old for them, and as I was delivering my papers on trash day, I would find a lot of this stuff. And so I end up, grabbing it here and there, or just having myself a good time. Once I get paid for my paper out, I'd go buy a monogram model, or if I was with my mom and we went shopping or something, I'd grab a bag of these soldiers. And these were the weirdest tanks, weren't they? I mean, what is this? What is that tank, right? What does it is? I have no idea. I'm pretty sure someone would come up with an idea. I know what that is. That's cool. But that self-propelled gun there. But I have no idea what that is. Like what? Invasion of the Martians or what? And this is one of my favorite helicopters by MPC. Missing a wheel. Of course it happens. But I always like the... is it called a Sea Stallion? Oh, come on, Bobby. Oh, what is it? Seahorse, right? This is a Seahorse. That's what it is. I believe this is the Seahorse. It's either Seahorse or Sea Stallion. And it always reminded me of a locust. It always reminded me of when I was going to Bible school, of when you read Revelations, right? The locusts. And I always pictured this. For some reason, the world was going to come to an end during that era in Vietnam when we were flying these helicopters. And it just reminded me of locusts, and I just kept going right back to the Bible studies and Revelations. And I said, oh boy, it's coming. Yeah. So that was pretty cool. Love this chopper. And I guess that's about it, guys, for MPC. I wish there was more. I just don't know that much of the history of MPC. It's something I need to really delve into and figure out. But I figured, while we're doing these little plastic soldiers, I figured get into it. These would be another great Christmas gift, is grabbing yourself a bag of these if you can find them, and get them to the kids. But these guys are old. I mean, if you consider, the 80s, early 80s old, but they're pretty cool. And I've got a lot. I've got a lot of these little guys, and they're cool. These blue guys are always my Germans. I was fighting these guys, and later on I found out they're supposed to be U.S. Marines. So, being a jarhead myself, yeah, how about that, huh? But they were cool, and the little holes in these were meant so when you had a ship like this. Of course, this ship is destroyed, but if you see these little doohickeys standing out, and what you did is you actually placed those soldiers onto the boat, so you could do that. That's how they stayed on there. So you would place them on the boat, right? Just like that. Isn't that cool? So that's what those holes are for. So they wouldn't tip over or fall when you were playing. Of course, I'm missing the other half because nothing ever stays the way you want it to. And basically, so you could play, and they wouldn't fall off, in the turbulent ocean that you played in, the bathtub. And, of course, there's a hole in this. Not supposed to be, but, of course, it's plastic. So I'll have to repair that. But, yeah, that's pretty neat. That's the way it was back in whatever land, right? All right, guys, so I hope you liked that little tour down MPC memory lane, and I hope you have a happy holiday, and let's see what we're going to do. If you want, I just starting to complete my Sons of Liberty marks set, so I can actually put that on the table and start throwing that at you. And I can't believe I found this in this set. This actually goes, I believe, with the Timmy, BMC Timmy Warrior Woman Female Army set. And I was looking for this. I thought I lost it. And it was in with the MPCs. So I don't know how it got there, but I'm glad I did it. So that's it, guys. I hope you have a good one. Take care of yourselves. Be good. This is such an awesome... I love this tank. Oh my God. The 155, huh? M55. Self-propelled. Pretty cool. Yes, it is. And I think it used to shoot something. Yes, it does. Oh, my God, it does. There's the spring in there. Yep. Not bad, huh? All right, my friends. Guys, take care of yourselves. It's a crazy world out there. Be good to each other. And above all things, be happy. Take care. Ciao.